Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us this morning, and thank you to Communications and Programming for creating a venue for us to launch Empower Groups. I'm David Dow, for those of you who I have not met. I'm on the board and also chair with Jim, the Membership Engagement Committee. And I think Sam was a kind of the kernel that came up with this concept and got us thinking. And then I don't want to say stole, but we borrowed his initial concept to roll out as a benefit for all members. And we landed on Empower Groups, and there was some discussion back and forth. We had a working name called Power Groups, and there was some discussion about what does power mean to people, and is it exclusive or alienating, or does power kind of defer to those who have the ability and the privilege to control it? And we explored some different names and we landed on Empower because there is something within power that we felt was close to what we were trying to achieve. And when we looked at Empower and saw that it's really giving one the power, or in this case, giving each other the power, it really seemed to jive with what our goal is for these groups. And essentially, call them affinity groups, call them whatever you are. Most importantly, call them self-managed, self-driven groups. This is not something that the association or the membership committee or anybody is driving. These are groups intended for people to come together in like-minded affiliations and to share experience and to provide visibility and to nurture, mentor, and do whatever else you want to do within your group. It will be up to the group to determine frequency, length, all of those sorts of things. So I'm going to turn it over to Sam and Megan to kind of talk through the groups. We are launching with Sam's, remind me where we landed on this group title, please.
There have been a lot of different iterations of it. I think what we ended up at was administrative and professional services. I mean,
Okay.
or was something along those lines. It sounds like we're we're still.
You can explain that in a minute. And Megan is launching a group devoted to mom/parenting because I guess we decided that, of course, dads are welcome, but primarily moms have had a lot to deal with through COVID and a lot to deal with all the time. So Megan's going to talk about what that group is. And I am launching an LGBTQI+, hopefully not having forgotten any of our identifying alphabet, which I'll share a little bit about after the others. And then I think we're going to break out into breakout sessions, if you will, just by group. And you are welcome to join a group that you're most interested, visit groups, and also Jim and maybe Arthur are staying in the main room to talk about any questions you have, and also to explain that this is really a launch and we welcome people who want to lead and manage other groups. And Trish had an email just before this from somebody who wasn't able to attend, but she's really interested in potentially a group of people who've been at it for 10+ years and sharing maybe together how you stay inspired and what new things do you do and things like that. So it is totally open to ideas and concepts, but that generally is what we're proposing and launching today. So Sam, tell us about your group.
Sure. Thanks, David. Really, about 6 months ago or so, I was fortunate to even dive deeper into a role more specific to nonprofits. And so I'm super excited about that. I'm leading the nonprofit consulting practice for my firm, USI Insurance Services. And so this was kind of born out of just trying to dive deeper and grow relationships within the ACN and within the nonprofit community. And as a member of the membership engagement committee rather, it's been my distinct pleasure to meet so many of the different groups on kind of an orientation type basis, and so many different people that have joined our community over the years. And so I have met people from all different scopes and all different backgrounds in terms of how they serve the nonprofit community. The one overarching theme is that everybody is kind, everybody is nice, everybody has kind of this heart of servanthood and wanting to serve the nonprofit community. However, a lot of people from a professional and from a networking and from a referral standpoint, there's a lot more connectivity that I have with certain people and just in the way that they serve nonprofits than I do with others. And that's fine. But really what I wanted to do was just say, hey, if we've reached 160, 170, members of ACN, what if I could find a way to really connect on a deeper basis with the 8 or 9 or 15 people that we could really work closely together and go deeper into the referrals that we can give, kind of the shared clients that we might have, and how can we impact our businesses. I think everybody is in ACN because they have a passion for nonprofits, but also because they want to improve their business and find new leads, find new prospective clients, and ultimately earn more business for their individual practices. So my thought was, I've done it in different groups, was just how do we, kind of have a recurring conversation around, hey, here's what's happening in the insurance world. Here's what is happening in the finance world. Here's what our accounting friends are saying. Here is what, people that are really serving human resource professionals and finance professionals and leadership professionals within nonprofit organizations in the Chicagoland and across the country. How can we serve each other to better serve our clients was really how this came to be. And so I started, putting some work into it and identifying a number of people that were in kind of a like-minded capacity in that professional services sector, and ran it by Trisha, ran it by David, Jim, and the membership committee. And, it's kind of where over the last couple of months we've grown into where we are today. And I'm really glad that this kind of idea has spawned into some other groups that are going to be really impactful as well. But that's kind of where we're at. Just how do we mine through all of the great people that we have in ACN and really hone in on the people that can most impact our individual practices.
Great. Thank you, Sam. Clearly, we thought it was a great idea because we stole it with your permission. So thank you for bringing this to the association.
Thievery is one of the cornerstones of the membership engagement committee.
That's right.
It's one of
I always heard that too. Sometimes it applies. In this case, it does. Megan, tell us, please.
Yeah, so as we started, talking about different groups and potential areas, David kind of challenged us kind of helping lead and launch this out, where we're groups that we might be interested in kind of helping launch. And so for me, a big one is just that concept of, being a working parent, being a working mom, living in a household with 2 working parents, and just this environment that is in front of us and what we're looking at. And so I have a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old. And so, doing work, succeeding, being able to put business for business and focusing on that is so important. But I know there's a lot of components that I feel personally, I love learning from other people who are parents also, and learning from what they've gone through and different tools and things that they have, both, I think, to be a better parent, but also to be better at my job and other components with that as well. And so I feel like we're in a season where so much of that for people who are in that zone, they're crossing over more than maybe ever before. And some of those feelings are kind of hitting, where you can talk about things that are great for business and helping move that and push that forward, but then also having some great conversation about what makes us better parents and what we're trying to do. And engaging with our kids and stuff like that as well. So I just thought I would kind of take the opportunity to create a group that would be able to foster that kind of a conversation, where there's some like-minded people who are maybe in a similar life stage, more than anything else, to kind of have some shared experiences, and blending that in with both the personal side as well as then being in the business, being in the different consulting and activities that we're doing, and how that relates there as well. So that was my kind of vision for what that group potentially would be like.
That's great. Thank you. So for the LGBTQI plus group, honestly, a big part of it is visibility. You know, we are part of the association. We are contributing members in the community, and we are professionals. And this is an opportunity for us to come together, including friends and family and people that are interested in potentially serving the community through nonprofit work, or interested in learning how they could serve. It's an opportunity for us to decide as a group, why did we join this group? What do we want to do? How do we want to approach this? But I know there is a sharing of life experience, and sharing that as far as sometimes it seems like we have come, we still face obstacles of discrimination in the workplace, discrimination with small business loans, discrimination with all sorts of things. And to be honest, I have a growing concern as we see what's happening in the courts with women's choice issues, that we have a very conservative set of justices in courts that may not necessarily carry the mantle of progress forward. So more than ever, it's going to be incumbent on us as professionals serving the larger gay community is, how do we help them continue to achieve their missions, even when potentially it becomes more critical? So, and it's going to evolve when we meet and decide. There are several people have reached out that they're interested. So we will see where we are this morning. And I will say there is one objective that we would like to achieve passing to each of the groups today, and that is to set an initial meeting. And that is because we would like, Trish wants to be able to do an announcement to the broader association that we have met, we have launched, give some updates, and then say, here are the dates for the first meetings. And then again, it will be up to the groups to continue to decide frequency, length, all of those sorts of things. So before we break out, are there any questions, having heard what we're proposing and hoping to create today?
I have a question just for marketing purposes. How can people, if they're interested, how do they join the groups? And that will probably be addressed in Trisha's email, but do they reach out to the individual group leader, or what were you thinking?
There is, I will say with all of this, fluid and evolving is probably the first part of the answer. But we are trying to kind of direct inquiries into the association. So there was a email blast that went out with a link, I believe, for if you're interested. That will happen again. I am certainly will share my personal email address with folks, my business email address. So if people want to reach out directly, it's fine. That's kind of up to the groups, how they want to continue that communication. But this is, I should add, also currently a member benefit. Any tier of membership, association, group, whatever it is. So all members, but it is a member benefit. So not something that currently we're going to offer to the broader community without being a part of the association. Again, fluid, rethinking, and then hopefully working with you, Lydia, maybe we get something on the website that there's a link prominently on the homepage or somewhere that says, you know, here's the meeting date for the first 3 groups we're launching. If you're interested, click through. Arthur also created a really good forum for people who have an idea like this, consultants that have 10 years plus into it kind of thing. That person can click on the link that Arthur created for how to start a group, and the membership committee will help support that group, but we're not going to take it on. So somebody who has an idea also needs to be prepared, and the language is clear. I have an idea, but I also want to do it. I want to lead it to the point where the group starts to function. So it is really
Great.
member driven.
And then Arthur, can you share that link? I'm just thinking, I'm writing a Facebook post for the group, the Facebook group. So I'd like to give people links to like learn more if they want to start their own group.
Thank
Share
you.
the link for sure.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you
And
for your
then
time.
I see Trisha did share the link for what's on the website. And then I will talk to Gordon, who's overseeing our website, and make sure that he puts it on the homepage when we're ready with those initial meetings. So we'll definitely be giving it some extra promotion.
I can't give you a quantitative answer right now, so it's qualitative, but I can say that it's not just hyperbole. We've had some really interesting emails and people reaching out with enthusiasm about being a part of this. So I think it's great that you can help expand that exposure, Lydia, and get people directed on how they can be part of it. Thank you.
Definitely. I'm super excited about it. And I think our members are going to be as well. So thank you to everyone involved.
So Trisha, since you're
Hold on,
talking,
I have one quick question as well. Is the goal
Please.
and intent to be always kind of a Zoom meeting? And like, what is the cadence of these? Will that just be dictated, or has the idea been thrown out for it to have some like asynchronous component by using like a Slack or a Facebook group or anything in supplement too?
yes. We definitely are not intending to always be virtual, though I would say importantly, we all as an association need to realize that we have a lot of new members joining monthly that are not Chicagoland. We are reaching kindred souls across the country, and it's something that as a membership engagement committee, we need to figure out how we welcome those members and how we create with communication and programming hybrid alternatives. Does it have to be Zoom? No. There was talk about another groovy e-tool that we could have used for this meeting, but I think nobody felt confident enough to pull it off for a first meeting. So it's one of those things, again, that each group can kind of talk. How do we want to meet? Do we want to meet? Are we all in Illinois? So we want to meet, every other month or once a quarter live, and we want to do the other ones by some application tool. But it is for the groups to decide, but there are no rules about it.
Yeah, I think it's going to come about organically. One thing that I can say is my vision for at least the professional services Empower group is that all of the individual members will be inspired to connect with one another on an individual basis as well. Connect for coffee, connect virtually, connect for lunch, and build those personal relationships as well. So, it doesn't necessarily have to function within the confines of a monthly or a bi-monthly meeting. I hope that, at least the individuals that join up my group will, be communicating with each other on an individual basis outside of the recurring meetings for sure. Good question.
Sam just hit on a point, and I don't ever talk to a new member or even one-on-ones with existing members where networking doesn't come up as one of the objectives for joining. And clearly the intent here is to do all the things we've talked about, but also to create an opportunity for intentional networking and business building. So there is the kind of proverbial softer side of why we want to affiliate and come together and talk, but there is also the desire to create opportunity for members to build their practices and their businesses. So, and Joya, thank you for coming in. We shared early on kind of the discussion about how we got to from power groups to empower groups, and Joya was really good as helping us to think about kind of what does power mean to different people, and how do we make sure that what we're achieving is our goal rather than excluding anybody. So any other questions before Trish breaks out the groups? And how long are we going to break out for? And hopefully we're going to leave a little bit of time to come back so that we can see if there were questions within the groups or any questions that surface that we can answer for people.
I think we talked about maybe like 15 minutes.
Right.
So if people want to actually pop into more than one group, there's enough time for that. And I set it up so you should be able to pop in and pop out wherever you choose. But if you have any trouble, just I'll be in the main room, and I think Jim and Arthur are staying in the main room with me. So we'll be here to talk with anyone who doesn't want to go into any particular room that we have set up currently. So
David, can I interject one more idea? Oh, sorry, were you finished, Trisha? I'm sorry,
yes,
I didn't mean to
no, it's
interrupt
okay.
you.
No worries.
Okay. So one thing that Sam and I talked about, because Sam and I had kind of a longer discussion about this professional service group, and I think it applies probably for all the groups to some degree, is if the groups get too big, you're gonna kind of lose some of that dynamism of having forming close relationships with the people within the group. So specifically for the professional service group, I know Sam isn't real keen on having like another insurance person in that group, because the point is, the point is if people have insurance referrals, he would like the group members to give those referrals to him, type of thing. So what like for his group, the plan was he was only going to have probably just one person in each discipline. Now I would imagine, I know that we have, like, I'm an accountant, and I know there's at least 2 other accountants on the call here. Like if people who are insurance people or accountants or lawyers or whatever, like this group, and there's already one person in that discipline that's already in the professional services group, we would love it if they would form a new group. We're hoping that this becomes so popular that we're going to have like literally 10 or 15 of these different groups, and people are gonna kind of take this and run with it, and people are going to form their own individual groups, and that's kind of how we're going to kind of get through this pandemic remote period and get to know each other a little bit better and start forming referrals. As we're going to start forming these these little networking groups where we can get to know each other on a much more personal level. So I just wanted to interject that.
Really good points, Jim. Thank you. Anybody
All
else?
right. Oh, sorry.
Nope. Okay.
All right, here we go.
Amazing.
It was good.
Can't wait for the next
Excellent.
one.
Any findings, any things that Megan, Sam, or anybody in the groups want to share?
I guess I would just say that we kind of decided our next step, we're going to send a doodle poll out to the people interested today. And I know I had an email from at least one other person to really set that next time frame up for when we're planning on meeting and kind of taking it from there. So this is a good opportunity to have some good conversation, talk about what everyone's hoping to kind of get out of the opportunity of networking together and having some conversation and be able to take some next steps. So we're excited to have that opportunity.
Sam?
Yeah,
Or
just
anybody?
gauging people's comfort level as it's related to making introductions and sharing client information, and just is really more about understanding how each individual consults with nonprofits and who their preferred contact is at organizations, and just kind of understanding how we can help people's individual practices is kind of was the centerpiece of our discussion.
That's great. Full disclosure, Gregory could have actually gone to all 3 groups, and I was fortunate enough to have him, and we occupied each other's time for the whole time. But he has a 2-year-old that I got to meet during the call, and also
I missed
professional
it. Aw.
services. So yeah, you missed Campbell, and we got to see the dog too. 2 things quickly to share that Gregory shared, which I thought were really interesting for all groups, is one, using the idea of, well, Gregory shared both in terms of the kind of fluid Google opportunity, and then also the idea of groups adopting an actual cause or something to do together collaboratively. So we're getting a do out of it rather than just talking.
Yeah, and sorry for Campbell in the background if anyone can hear. Both Trisha and Lydia know that Campbell's never too far away. So, but my thought going was, since we're bringing people together, and part of this is network and referral, giving the group a cause, or everyone dedicating, you know, an hour of time or 2 hours of time per month to choose an organization and apply some of their services to a common goal, was kind of the thought that I had. That also allows us to kind of figure out how we work together, gives us the ability to sink some roots into our relationships with one another. And then also there's a give back component, which I find is super important as well. And then also creating, whether it's a Slack channel or a Facebook group, or, you know, whatever that may be, to create some asynchronous communication. Say there's an article that goes through that people want insight on, that it can just be shared there and be collaborated on. What I was mentioning to David was that I find that for ACN members, that group, Google group, seems to be the most active of response. And Lydia and I have had conversations in the marketing committee on that as well. So being able to just kind of leverage what people are already doing to increase buy-in is where my head was there. Sorry.
No, they were great. And I liked both of those ideas, particularly the idea of kind of putting our expertise and experience to work collectively within the groups. And then not just have this being about an hour a month or every other month or what groups want to meet, but whether it's email groups or other things, to just share as articles, ideas, issues come up, to kind of keep that fluid dialogue going. So it was a good conversation. And we'll steal the doodle poll idea, though it'll be easy to come up with our first meeting. Sorry, Trish, we didn't even accomplish what our one objective was.
That's okay. But then, you know, even it would be fun, I think, to have like a little graphic for each group that we can put together, and that'll be fun to help advertise it and make it eye-catching. While you guys were all in your meetings, Arthur and I were very busy, so we updated that form that Arthur shared in the chat, and we added like a drop down, or not a drop down, but check boxes. So if people wanted to go in and select, they can select all three groups if they want to. So that'll be our mechanism where either people can join an existing group, or if they're interested in creating a new group idea, they can use the same form.
Nice, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions?
Can we take a quick picture that I can share on social media? Is everybody ready to smile? Or turn off your camera if you don't want to be. All right, ready? Let me get my thing ready here. Okay. Smile, 1, 2, 3. Perfect, thank you.
Just want to say thank you to everyone who helped pull these things together. I think they're going to be great for ACN, but I mean, ACN aside, like that's coming from the president too, but ACN aside, I think it's going to be really, really valuable to the people in the groups to get support, to get ideas. You know, one of the things we talked about is how do you as a working parent, how do you manage capacity? So, and how do you figure out capacity? So, and it's not something I know I can't figure out for myself. So I think it's going to be really such a great thing for us as members to be able to grow our businesses in different ways and sort of like balance what we need to balance, whether that's our, you know, our personal lives, our family lives, our hobbies, anything else that we're doing, right? Like, I think it's just, thank you all.
Looking forward to it. It's gonna be great.
Yay, I'm so
All right.
excited.
Oh,
Well,
me too.
thank you all. And
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you everyone for launching this. Like I said, I am so excited to promote it as the marketing department. We are really excited to promote it and I think people are gonna love it.
Great.
Yay.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Happy
thanks, guys. Have a
holidays to
great day.
everybody.
Bye, see you soon.
Thanks all.
You
Bye.
guys.
Bye.